Fellas, say goodbye to Chuck Sherman the boy. I am now a man. I highly recommend you join the club. We are doing the wild thing all night.
Acid house music.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Sherm.
Sherman, I cooked all this food. Is that all you gonna eat?
General Sherman realized and understood the importance of house music.
So, do you know anything about techno?
No.
Listen.
Get it on.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another brand new episode of Sherm in the Booth. I'm, of course, your host, Sherm. Today is Wednesday, June 10th, 2020. This is episode 113. Hope everybody is doing well out there. I am really excited about this episode, guys. I met this guy about probably a year ago, and we immediately had a connection. And after going through the full interview with him, it's clear to us why. His name is Chris Diaz. Chris Diaz, ladies and gentlemen, and this guy is one of the most educated house heads that I've ever met. An incredible DJ producer who's from Southern California. He spent time in New York and, of course, Chicago now as well. But this guy is really hitting his stride. He's got over a decade of experience, but he's still so young in the game. He just released on Hood Politics Records and has also had a slew of original releases this year as well. In this interview, guys, we got the full Chris Diaz story. I had so much fun talking to him about his journey from the first time he started DJing to where he's at now and, of course, his goals for the future. Chris, thanks so much for taking some time, man. It was genuinely a pleasure to talk to you and get your story, man. Let's let the people hear it for themselves, though. This is episode 113 with Chris Diaz. How you been, though? What's been going on with you, man? Are you officially in Chicago for the summer? I know you usually go back and forth.
Yeah, so I like to spend my winters in California and spend my summers out here.
Absolutely.
Just because, obviously, the cold was insane.
Wasn't for you.
I spent my first winter here in Chicago last year when it was like negative 50 degrees. I got an Airbnb. I have my own solar company, so I came out to like test the market and do some door knocking out here to see if see how the market was, because it was a pretty new market.
Right.
And I survived the negative 50 degree weather, fell in love with the city, and decided, you know what, I'm going to come back in April. Moved back in April, did the same thing, Airbnb, met up with one of my, a buddy from Solar, and we ended up, finding a place together. And then just working all summer, making connections. Like I also love the house music scene and how prevalent it is out here.
Yeah, man.
So I was like, yeah, it's a no-brainer. Why not?
Of course. I know. I'm so excited to ask you about the difference between West Coast house, especially in San Diego too. I know you do a lot of stuff in LA, Long Beach area, but it is a different type of visceral experience here in Chicago, right?
Definitely. I would 100% agree with that.
Where were you originally born, Chris?
So I was born in Pomona, which is about 45 minutes outside of LA. Mm-hmm. But for the past 25 years, or at least till I was 18, am from Rancho Cucamonga, which is about 45 minutes to an hour. Everyone's like, oh, workaholics. Yeah, workaholics.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That's awesome, man. So then, what was it like growing up? I mean, in terms of musical inspiration, were your parents musical? Like, when did it actually come into your life? Obviously, West Coast, man, like growing up in that time and age, hip hop was huge, but what about electronic music?
Most definitely. So I would say my parents met through the choir.
That's real music, baby.
Yeah, exactly. My mom plays the accordion, and my dad plays the guitar, and they both sing.
Wow.
So they've been, so they've been singing in the choir for the past, I don't even know how long, maybe like 30 years or something.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of, I guess, in my roots. And then I was forced to play the piano for about till I was I was like third or fourth grade up until freshman year of high school. And then freshman year of high school, my parents said, you don't have to take lessons. You don't have to play if you don't want to.
Right.
And I didn't. I actually picked up the guitar from that period and started playing like Spanish classical music guitar. in high school, and then I stopped playing both instruments for about 2 years, from sophomore to senior year. Forgot almost everything I learned.
Dude, I totally agree. Like, my parents forced me to play the guitar, and I was just like, fuck this. I want to go play video games with my friends. No one else is doing that.
Right?
Yeah, I know, it's tough. But you think you back it up then?
Yeah. I would say when I started DJing at 16, I'm 26 now.
Yeah.
I started DJing when I was 16, and then I moved out to St. John's. I moved out to New York and went to school out there. And there's where, like, I torrented Ableton and was like, yo, this is sick. And started picking up, like, the piano back again because I bought, like, a little, piano controller and just started messing around with making music.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I really started picking up the piano again and guitar.
Nice. What college was it then? St. John?
St. John's, New York, yeah, university.
Where is that in New York?
Queens.
In Queens, I thought, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
They have a Queens campus and a Manhattan campus. I went to the Queens campus, and it wasn't my place to be.
Yeah, man, that's a bit intense.
Yeah, it was way too cold. I mean, I can't complain about the cold because I'm here in Chicago, and it was way too cold, and just like it's a different place. Queens is like it's pretty dirty.
Dude,
it's pretty dirty.
I know all about Queens. My dad was born in Bayside, Queens. My cousin lives out in Brooklyn. My aunt and uncle lived in Manhattan for 37 years now. So I know all about New York and what you're talking about, man. It's not Chicago. It certainly is not the West Coast.
Yeah, for sure.
Different type of people too. How long did you go there for then?
I went there for a year.
Okay.
I lived above a bar. So I got kicked out of housing and lived above a bar for the rest of my second semester.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like the college bar that everyone used to go to.
Nice.
I had a fake at the time, so I was like, going down there and would always have like pre-games and stuff. And like, I'm pretty good at like when I got to do my work, I got to do my work. But I also was living with a fraternity member, and he would always have pre-games when I would be trying to get my work done. So it ended up not doing well in school, and it was time for me to go home.
It's tough. Did you have like any musical influences over there? Like, were there DJs at that bar, or what was the scene like there?
Yeah. So kind of rewind. I guess like back in 7th grade, this girl told me she went to like EDC LA in 2013, and I was like, that sounds amazing. That sounds so sick, and introduced me to the music, like the Tiesto, the Tiesto, Swedish House Mafia music back then, and was like
the progressive, hands up in the air, Alesso, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, I'm gonna skip a lot of questions here. Is there inspiration from your recent track Shift? Because you got a Greyhound sample there, bro. Are we taking it back all the way to 2013 with your love?
I did that.
My research.
I'm not gonna say I did do it, but a definitely big influence,
Of course, man. Continue. Yeah. So 2013, 2014, huge progressive area for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And fast forward, was loving that music. Like I have like mixes that I did like for Pioneer. Pioneer used to have this like thing on YouTube where you would just record your mix, and like I forget what you name it, but I have like mixes of me like doing live of like all that music from like 2011, 2012.
That's still up?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's still up. If you did some digging, you could find it.
I'm gonna go looking.
But it's interesting to like go back and look and be like, wow, like that's where music was,
Of course.
10 years ago.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So and then I met this kid in college. Who I bought CDJs and was like, yeah, like I want to like, do this professionally and do this full time. I made that decision when I was 18 after coming back from EDC.
Right.
And then going to New York, I met this kid, and I was like, he was a DJ too, and he was like, yeah, like, let's mix. Started playing some like deeper like house music, like the Jamie Jones type stuff, and Inez Brothers.
Yeah.
He's like, bro, like that stuff's cool, but this is the shit. Like this is the music that will stay alive for generations.
Wow.
And I was just like, dude, like, yeah, it's cool. It's kind of slow, I kind of like those bangers, though, Oh, man, trust me. He also had a fake, or he was like 21 at the time, I guess. But he was like, let me take you. So we went to Pasha in New York when it was still open. And I think we saw Danny Tenaglia.
Wow.
And I was like, this is crazy. I just fell in love with the music's good, it's something you can listen to, while you're doing anything and kind of tune out of it.
Yep.
But the idea of people gathering and like not compared to what I was compared to what I saw at EDC, everyone looking at the DJ,
right.
1, 3, jump, the DJ kind of controlling the crowd.
Yeah.
Going to Pasha and seeing Danny Tenaglia were the most, simple sounds. Everyone's just chatting with each other, facing each other, not really facing the DJ, and I fell in love with that. I was like, I met so many more people that night.
Yep.
And just like, it was a way better vibe than, having to be like, oh, gotta wait for the drop.
Crazy, dude. I had the same experience at CrossFest, which I know you're very familiar with. I think I went, first time I went to that was, I think it was 2016 maybe. And I had been to house sets at festivals, but never been to a whole entire house and techno fest. And dude, I had the same experience. I was looking around, like, people are talking to each other. I can hear each other. Like, these speakers are really good. It's not loud, it's clear. And the DJ is kind of like crushing it, but it's not all about them.
Right.
Like, it really is about the experience that they're giving. And I feel that only really happens with house and techno too. And you got to see that shit live, right? Even probably when you DJ with your friend there, it was dope, but it's like coming out of smaller speakers, or you hear it through somebody's earphones, and you're like, I don't get it. But until you experience it live and get the full effect, dude, you can just hook people. It's not hard to get people to like house music if you take them to a live show.
For sure, yeah, I definitely got all my friends into house music. I was kind of the one who like was always like trying to push it on my friends, and then I finally gave them that experience. And Yoast Theater was probably that place that I started DJing at in college, and that's when all my friends just started liking house music.
I think that's maybe why we get along, Chris. We're like we're optimistically peer pressures, where we're like, listen,
yeah,
you're gonna come, you're gonna enjoy this. I'm gonna guarantee it.
Yeah, and you might not like it the first few times, but if you want to continue hanging out with me, you have to go with this shit.
Salesman, you need a job at my place, man. That was a pretty good line.
I do nothing but sales.
Oh, that's right, man. It's all about selling yourself. Now, I remember the first time I met you, Chris, was at our homie JG's. Yeah. And you were mentioning to me you had traveled abroad a lot. If I remember correctly, by yourself to a lot of these. You went to a Berlin techno show. You went all over Europe. And I just thought it was the coolest thing, man. And it seems like you've met a lot of people as well. You were in deep then. How old were you, and what was kind of like the inspiration there to like go all the way?
Yeah, so this is an interesting story, I guess. I was originally supposed to go with my girlfriend at the time.
That'll happen.
And she was studying abroad, so I was supposed to go visit with her, and she like was supposed to we were supposed to travel together to all these places, and I had my flight there, and then I had my flight back from my ending spot, which was in Munich. Mm-hmm. And everything literally fell apart a month before I was supposed to leave, and I was working this job at the time, building up a solar company with 5 other buddies.
Yeah.
And it was like nonstop grinding, and I was kind of like, oh, I don't think I'm gonna go anymore. And she's like, you should just go. You should just go. And so I was like, all right, I'll give it a try. Ended up meeting up with her for the first few days, and then not good. I kind of just winged it, I just winged it and literally just chased house music. That was kind of the original plan, like to go all these places that I was going to chase house music. So I went to London, went to Eglinton, where else I Egg was the only one that I was able to go in England. And then I went to Amsterdam. Didn't go to any house music places over there, but then going to Prague, went to this one club that I've been trying to find, and I'm not really sure what the called, but it was so fucking sick.
Yeah.
And I'm in the best like techno music. And Prague in itself is just one of the most beautiful places that I've ever been. It's probably my favorite country that I've visited so far.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so, and then from Prague, went to Berlin, went to like the techno clubs over there, partied for like 48 hours, met people there that I just kind of like, from the hostel, met some people there and just kind of like went around to all these clubs and it got the full experience.
Dude, it's so awesome at hostels. You can just meet people and they're down to like invite you out. I just feel like, I don't know, that doesn't happen in America, but in Europe, it's like the front door person who checks you in asks if you want to come to a pregame at their place. Like that happened to me in Lisbon, Portugal. We checked in. He was like, hey, we're going out tonight. I was like, yeah, this guy's a local. Like, give it to me.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely when I looked up like where I was going and staying last minute, I was like, party hostels. That's how you got to do it,
Absolutely, man.
So yeah, like, and then from Berlin went to Munich. In Munich, I found this like World War II building that was like vacant, and they threw a fatty warehouse party there. And I met this kid, Human, that was also making music at the time, and he just like was like, yeah, like you could have my ticket. Like one of my friends bailed, and I was just like, wow, it was insane.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I wanted to ask you about that is because I want to fast forward to where you're making and releasing music now. And since I knew that story and you got those sort of raw experiences there, I feel your music is pretty emotional, man, for being house music. Like, I definitely get a lot of different vibes, and we'll get into that. But do you feel that those experiences, whether it be so specifically in that World War II warehouse vibe or whether it be like your first gig, does that translate into your productions nowadays in terms of influence?
I would say that it just like secured my love.
Yes.
For the industry and for the scene and like for my passion and what I want to do my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely secured my love, and I feel like right now I'm making music that makes me happy first and foremost, but also attends to the people who listen to my music and the crowd that I interact with.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely want to go more towards that simple techno, like Michael Beatty style later on.
Yes.
Because I really do enjoy listening to that music,
mm-hmm.
but I also really do enjoy throwing a banger and people just going like,
yeah.
What the fuck is it? Like, oh yeah, like definitely I enjoy that right now, and this kind of plays into the San Diego versus Chicago thing.
Yeah,
San Diego is all about that big, heavy, just drop synths and a really high energy style house music.
Right, like I listened to your set from out in San Diego pretty recently, and it was a lot different than a set I've seen you play at Spy Bar or even just like DJing at Jake's, so
yeah,
you really do know your crowd though, and it's pretty cool that you've had all this experience, whether it be like growing up in LA, living in New York, traveling abroad in Europe, living in Chicago.
You've met a lot of people. You've had a lot of influences, man. And dude, 6 months ago was your first official release, right? Want Me to Stay.
Yeah.
Downloaded that right away. I've got all your music, FYI.
Hell yeah.
And So Seductive. When I heard that, I was like, this is Chris Diaz. Like, Want Me to Stay was dope, but there was something about So Seductive with the vocals, and like you had a little like just flavor of so many different types of people, man. A lot of the people that you've mentioned.
Yeah.
And now Shady's Jam, and of course Shift, like I mentioned earlier, off Hood Politics. Congrats, man. That's a great label. I know you got some homies over there, but still, your production speaks numbers.
I appreciate that, really. Yeah.
Dude, I love it. It's so sick.
Dude, thank you. Yeah, that one was sitting. I was sitting on it for a little while, but yeah, I if you listen to like all my music, yeah, Want Me to Stay was like, it was one that I brought out of the works just to like start releasing something.
Yeah.
I made that song like 3 years ago, I think. I liked it. You know, I kind of like took inspiration from Nick Fanciulli and kind of put a little bit more of energy, you know, later on, and then that was like, and then I moved down to San Diego, and that's when like my sound like really started developing into that So Seductive, Shift, and Shady's Jam music.
Little like you gotta like So Seductive is definitely like a Hot Since '82 knee deep in sound, and Shady's Jam. Do you get a little Michael Beebe vibes in that too? So it's cool to see the music you're releasing, man, because I see you staying in a lane but kind of shifting and coming back. So
Yeah.
you're pushing yourself, you're going outside your comfort zone. But do you think at this point you found the Chris Diaz sound, or are you still developing that?
I don't know, dude. I think I'm still developing it, really. You know, I like all different types of music. I love, like I said, I love the banger stuff. I love like the deeper tech minimal stuff
Right.
that Michael Beebe and them are making, I feel like my sound is still developing, and I'll know when like I think like I have that sound that's mine, but
Absolutely.
so far like Shady's Jam and So Seductive were like a lot harder to shop around because like they're just like different, especially Shady's Jam.
Definitely.
Like Shady's Jam was I couldn't think of a label that like it would be good under, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna start my own label and throw that under there.
Just about to ask you, what was the release on that then? You started your own?
Yeah, so I started my own label called Space Funk Records. Still haven't officially launched it and promoted it to the public. I've been kind of testing out my songs with Shift, So Seductive, and Shady's Jam. I've been testing out Spotify promotion strategies because one of the things that I feel is that I feel like a lot of these labels are so focused on SoundCloud right now.
Yeah.
Have a big following on SoundCloud, but for me personally, I just believe that that's kind of a dying platform. Like I don't see a lot of value in putting in a ton of effort towards, you know, releasing music. Doesn't mean I'm not going to do it, and doesn't mean I don't have a promotion strategy for SoundCloud. But it's just for me, I want to do the same thing. So I've been just like gathering a bunch of data, cold emailing a bunch of different people who own a bunch of different playlists.
Yeah.
To promote my music, and I want to do the same thing for artists who want to sign under my label and kind of use it as a selling point to, hey, I can help really get your music some reach here.
For sure. I think that's a really great point because you and I, as DJs, grew up on the SoundCloud boom. You know, I've interviewed so many people that have had so much success off SoundCloud remixes before they really went crazy with copyright. And I still use SoundCloud as a main platform, but in our eyes, the people of our generation that we want to enjoy our music, they consume via Spotify, right?
Right, exactly. Spotify or Apple Music.
Yeah. That's good. Congrats, though. I mean, that's That's major that you were like, I don't got a label. Well, I still need to release this. Maybe this is one day going to be my sound. And there are a lot of producers out there like you, right?
Yeah.
That are probably going to reach out to you because they produce a track just like you and they don't know what to do with it, but they want the world to hear.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the other thing to consider is that, you look at artists like Chance the Rapper.
Yeah.
Or even my buddies over at Hood Politics, they did the same thing because they sent out tons of demos and their sound is so unique now. They've definitely found their own sound where you're like, oh, that's a Hood Politics song, and they created this thing this beast over the past 3 years to really, release on something that was theirs. And I just kind of took the idea and did the same thing. And it's like, all right, well, if I can release independently and have a promotion strategy behind it and still get that same volume of people and listens and that same outreach, like why release under another label?
For sure. Absolutely, man. I know you're a guy who does the research as well and have learned a lot. Have you had any mentors along the way that have helped you maybe even musically or professionally with your branding and stuff like that?
For sure. Big shout out DJ Susan. One of my
God, dude. Everything I've seen him, the mustache and no shirt on and just banging tech house.
Dude, he's a legend. Like he's just a really good guy, and you can feel energy from him as soon as you walk into the door.
Love that.
He's definitely a big mentor towards mine. He's introduced me to a lot of people, helped me get a lot of gigs, helped get established, in San Diego, as well as my buddy Oren and the other one out here that I met, John Summit. He's become a really good friend of mine and has definitely mentored me on release strategies and like what to do. So like I've been kind of just trying to pick the brains of some of the biggest people who I know personally and kind of follow that route, but also add a little twist of it to my own from what I know about marketing and stuff.
I love that, man. And I always love asking that question to guys and really on any level, because whether you're big or small, you know that everyone started in the same place. And I especially find that in the Midwest, just maybe because I'm based in Chicago, is that you think people aren't willing to help because it is a competitive city, but there are a lot of people who are willing to help you if your ask is genuine. It's not like, hey, give me your contact at your biggest label. I've got a great track. Right. It's like, hey, I love what you do. I want to learn from you. I go to your shows, this and that, right? Like it needs to be a humble industry, and I think that's not as exposed as much as it should be, and as much as it is.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree with that. There's like there's a big competitiveness and like where it shouldn't be with your homies. It's like you all just want to grow together, and that's what I love about San Diego is kind of on that same thing. We all have different goals and have different organizations, that run parties down in San Diego, but ultimately we all kind of help each other, booking each other for our parties, for other parties to kind of build that community, where everyone does know, everyone in that sense.
Isn't that the best?
The industry in general.
That's so true, man. Now on that topic, let's get into shows on the West Coast for Chicago versus New York versus where you've maybe even played, right? Yeah. You were touching on the energy of San Diego. Maybe comes off opposite because you think the West Coast vibes, people are more chill. They don't want to party as hard. Is that not the same in San Diego? Because San Diego is not LA for those that haven't been to either or don't know a lot, right? There's a totally different vibe in each.
Yeah, there is definitely a big vibe, definitely a difference in vibe in San Diego. San Diego is just really good at throwing like wacky, kooky parties. Like you look at some of the photos from like In the Bag production or the Hood Politics parties or the warehouse parties out in LA, Freaky Fridays and stuff, and everyone's just like wearing kooky, just like the craziest things just to like stand out, and it's different, I guess, from what because San Diego is a fairly new house scene,
absolutely.
Its own identity by itself without having the without like having the history of a place like Berlin or a place like Chicago, where they went through the turmoil of fuck disco, and Chicago is kind of like, Chicago, where house music had to be super underground and where it originated. People have kind of grown in this industry of like, this is what we went through. This is kind of how we've developed over time.
Right.
Whereas like San Diego, there's no rules. There was no rules to throwing parties down there. It was basically SDSU and a bunch of frat kids moving out to, Pacific Beach and just throwing the craziest wild like frat parties, but club. The same idea of what the ideas of the frat parties that they had, wig outs or ABC parties and involving it in the club scene.
It's true, man. I really like that description because Chicago, the city of itself, not to say San Diego hasn't been around for a long time, and people don't realize how big San Diego is to the population there, but Chicago is like nitty gritty, man. Like, and it is competitive, like I said earlier, but within even the house region, the house realm, there's a much smaller group of us. And I see that funnel starting to get bigger because more people want to get into it and they know how big it is in Chicago. There's not enough venues here for the amount of people that want to enjoy it and play it. And I think that's what makes it competitive. But I love what you said about San Diego. There's no rules, man. If you want to throw a party on the fucking beach, if you want to rent out a boat, any time of the year. I saw a video you DJ'd in December on a dope party. Like, that's not happening in Chicago, right?
Yeah, dude, yeah. The other thing, too, is that a lot of venues have kind of the venues over there have looked at the changes of what's happened with primarily rap music, primarily, top 40.
Yep.
A lot of the venues have experienced fights, from the ghetto crowds coming in, and they're tired of having to shut down the club because there was a shooting, or having to shut down the club because there was a stabbing or a big fight, Right. So that's one of the things that happened in Long Beach, where I became a resident DJ at one of this place called Panama Joe's. Now, like, when I was living out there and going to school out there, they were like, no hip hop. Don't play that. Like, we don't want the ratchet crowd, like top 40 or house music. So I was like, all right, say less. You don't have to. I'll play exactly what I love. I'll play hip hop remixes of house music.
Yes.
That's how I got a lot of my friends in. That's how I actually like got my friends in the house music. It was all just remixes of old hip hop bangers that everyone knows.
I totally agree. I call it open format house, right? You play these remixes, these mashups of the most popular songs with just like a banging tech house drop, and they don't know the fucking difference, right? I think that's why it's hard for people to get into it, because once you get into it, then you appreciate it, and you can have those long minute breaks and builds. Like, we're cool with that because we just want that beat to come back, but that's not entertaining enough for the, let's just call it the pop crowd, right?
Right.
So I see in our generation a lot more now than ever, too, especially in Chicago. When I play open format gigs, I'm trying to spin 80% house, dude, and I'm getting away with it when 2 years ago I was not.
Oh, for sure. I know those girls just behind the decks, like, bugging your ear out.
What is this? Oh, God, please stop.
Music.
But they're opening up their eyes to it more, and it's because of a lot of these people that are bridging the gap, too. Like, if you think about when we were talking about earlier, 2012 to 2013, Swedish House Mafia, Alesso, Cascade was making real big progressive stuff. Hardwell, 2014, Big Room. Then came Trap with Flosstradamus.
Yeah.
That still has its peaks and valleys. Then there was Kygo with Tropical House, which really brought a lot of people from the pop realm into the house realm. Let's just call it house, Chris. You and I know there's a difference, but and then that transitioned, right? And then now we had a little bit of pop and the future house and the future bass. But house has always been there, man. And a lot of these guys now too are making house music. and it's just slowly migrated, man. If people as big as Alesso are releasing tech house with vocals, and people like Chami that are getting the bass crowd into it that are also playing house, there's just all these fusions that are going into what you and I have always loved all these years, right?
I agree, dude. Nail right on the head.
I know. I've told that story maybe 110 times now.
Your explanation is perfect, and I myself kind of like pride myself, I guess, on knowing the which way it's going.
Absolutely.
You know which way it's going, because when the first time I ever heard Original Dawn by Flosstradamus,
Yeah.
I heard it at EDC. I think Flux Pavilion played it, and I was like texting all my homies who are producers. I was like, dude, this not my style, but this is the next wave of music, and if you start producing it this now, you'll blow up.
Right.
And a lot of them didn't take my advice, and I even tried like making a little bit of it, but I wasn't really happy making that.
It's crazy though, isn't it though? Because there's so many ebbs and flows with those types of genres. But I mean, the fact that Carnage is doing house sets is like that. Somebody like that is chasing popularity, right? No offense to him, he gets it. He's got a great brand. The guy is a millionaire, but he's playing house sets because I believe another in our generation, let's call it 23 to 35, we can't rage like we used to for 4 days in a row and jump up and down. Dude, my body can't do it. But I love the music, and I'm willing to go to movement, for example, right? It kind of breaks me down, but it doesn't break me down as if I'm jumping the whole time, right? So, and I think, too, another social construct that's changed is people used to stop partying at 28, 29, 30 years old, right? Now, we're not getting married at 20 and having 5 kids by the time I'm 27 years old. There's a lot of people who are 30, 35, 40 that don't have kids, that are making money and want to go enjoy these types of things, right? But they don't want to go rage with the younger kids. So that's why the 21 plus festivals do well. That's why the house crowd is so mature at certain places. I mean, you've experienced it, right?
Yeah.
I think it's great. I think it's growing more than ever. Obviously, this COVID situation sucks because steam was really building for the house music community. Yeah. But it's pretty cool at the same time, too, because I feel outside of the EDM community, people have this conception that it's all about the drugs, it's all about getting fucked up, all this shit. Well, guess what, motherfuckers? The EDM community is still thriving because we're all about the music, right? You're still producing. I'm still doing my podcast. We're still doing online festivals. It's just a hiccup for us, man, and we'll figure it out. But I do strongly believe house music is going to be the one to stay on top during all this.
Oh, definitely. It's the modern day disco.
Yes. I know you love disco too. I love disco.
Love disco. My dad and uncles used to throw like little disco parties back in the day. And
really?
Yeah, that's how I knew. I was like, shit's in the blood.
Are both your parents Hispanic then?
Huh?
Are both your parents Hispanic?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, dude, you've got dancing culture in your blood.
Oh yeah, for sure. Catch me at Spy Bar somewhere on the dance floor. I have no remorse for showing my dance moves.
No, and I think that's probably the best part about Spy Bar. No judgment there.
No judgment.
No judgment, dude. I rented out Spy Bar for some of the Lavender Group guys just because I was fiending that basement so bad. I was like, fuck it, we're renting it out. We're dropping 4 hours a house. I gotta get back.
Wow. Yeah, dude, that's amazing.
Fuck it, dude.
I miss Spy Bar so much.
I miss it too.
I used to go like 3 times a week.
Yeah, no, same.
I was even like this close to taking a job for being like an artist liaison or whatever. I was trying to get mine in, but all this shit happened. I ended up, at that point, I moved back to California for the winter.
Yeah.
Like, it made sense.
Yeah, of course, man. I want to ask you about that too. Obviously, I've been having interviews since this started over the past, 2.5 months now. And the answer has changed a lot with this because now I feel at this point in time, we have a little bit of an idea of what the near future looks like. The far future, we don't know. And so much was already changing that we've been talking about. What do you think is going to happen if you can't answer? You don't have to be, your best estimate. how is it going to affect the music industry for better or for worse in the near and far future?
For like for all this COVID shit that's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, for me personally, I have music that I want to release. Me, DJ Susan and I and Jenny Voss, we have this song called Forever that's like, I'm pretty sure it's it. We're very sure it's it. Every single time I've played it for people, and the reaction that I've seen, I'm like,
Yeah.
geez, yeah.
Feel your energy through this, bro. That's awesome.
Exactly, yeah, and you know, we've kind of chatted about it. Jenny Voss is I think she's like the next queen of house music. She's got an amazing voice. She doesn't have a lot of releases in house music, so she wants to get you know, stuff out as soon as possible, right? Kind of like myself, just digging out, you know, a 3-year-old song and just releasing it in November. You know, I understand, but like with this one, it's like we want to release it at a time when people can experience it and get the full experience, you know, get the full, like, I'm in Ibiza, I'm, you know, with hundreds of people or 1,000 people, whatever it may be, and I'm hearing this song off of whatever, you know, drunk or substance I am, and like, I want to fall in love with that song now because it ties them back to that experience that they heard it in.
Right? It's not time yet for it.
Yeah, exactly. So for me personally, I think, or for us as a group, I think we kind of are in a situation where we have to push that back to possibly summer 2021.
Gosh, it's crazy, isn't it, man? Do you feel you're now, when you're in the studio, because like you've been DJing for a long time, almost a decade, right? Like, what'd you say? It's been 7 or 8 years now?
I think I just hit my 10-year, or Halloween will be my 10-year.
Well, almost a decade, Chris, right?
Yeah.
And for someone that starts as a DJ, you probably got into producing, and not to assume, because you wanted to play your music for people, right? Because you saw the energy you could give to other people with other people's music, right?
Yeah.
Now we might have to delay that a fucking year, and that's tough. It's tough for me. Like, when I'm thinking, I'm having real trouble being creative in the studio right now because I'm someone who started as a DJ like you too. And dude,
I just awoke to my fucking creative block that I've been having, because I feel the same way. I was, for the past, since I've been releasing Want Me to Stay,
yeah,
I have had such a passion for getting in the studio and literally spending 14 hours a day in the studio, you know, nonstop every single day, and like just being like, I don't care, like, work, fuck it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I would be playing shows at the time. I would be playing all the shows and just be like, would love to test out the reaction and get that, like, that high, that fucking, like, damn, like, I just played this song and people went nuts for it, you know, where it's like, now we're doing live streams. Yeah, like, you can go through the comments and see people like, oh my god, this is sick, but you don't get that same, like, same people like,
yeah. Dude, it's true though. Like, and there are so many people that start off as DJs, right? And we produce to play it at clubs and festivals.
Yeah.
Because that's what we want to give, is what other people gave to us, right?
Yeah.
And I know it's a pretty even divided line in the sand. I was watching an interview with Claude Von Stroke and Toki Monster, and she asked Claude, what are you doing with your music? What are you doing with Dirty Bird releases? He was like, we're releasing everything. I saw another interview with somebody else, and they said, I'm holding off. Like, this music was made for the summer. I just put this out right now. Maybe somebody listened to it on their Bose speaker on the beach, but, like, that's not what it's for.
Yeah. No, it's not.
So.
It's not. But here's where, like, I've gone digging into my crates of music that I've written in the past that have been different than like house music, you know.
Yeah.
So like I'm right now at the point where I'm trying to get a bunch of songs in my pipeline done, so I can like get back to my normal 1 song a week schedule. And I think once I get that down, and if all the shit's still going on and there's no DJ opportunities, I'm gonna be making some like, not so much poppy music, but a lot slower, a lot calmer, a lot chiller, a lot more vocal music.
Yeah.
Because like I just feel like right now is a perfect time to do those kind of releases.
Yeah, you just answered my question, man. It was literally like, are you changing your style of production? Or are you considering it because of how people are going to consume it, like in the actual area, not like what medium? But
yeah,
I agree, man. Right? Like, and you can't bang tech house like in your house all day. Like you can.
I do, and I can. I love it, but for a lot of people.
See, I was trying to speak for the common people. I usually have just I can just hear a hi-hat in my apartment all fucking day. But for most people, like we were talking about earlier, let's call them our friends again that we have to play the mashups for. That's the common population, I would say. That's the main audience.
Right.
And they're all kind of confused on how to listen to music now too. Like streaming is actually down. Video streaming is up. Like YouTube is more than ever, but like Spotify is actually down.
Wow.
And yeah, it's crazy. So I don't know, just like as artists, right? Like we're not just artists anymore. We have to be business people. And I think that's super mature of you, man, to like not only challenge yourself again, but to say, hey, I'm just going to keep making music because this is what I'm going to do. And like I said earlier, a bump in the road is not going to slow the true creatives down who really want to do this, right?
Yeah, I think personally, I think I'm going to do more edits, right now.
Yeah.
And build up my record label and release like all my edits under there just to get following and stuff.
Yeah.
Like free download gates or whatever. And
yeah, I've seen you on Hyped It. I've seen you there. I've seen you there. I love it.
Hell yeah. I think that's kind of the route that I'm going to be going for the next few months. I've been thinking about, edits that I can make and release for the time being until I can get my original songs that I've written out.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I love that too. Like, I think, like you said earlier, releasing these sort of well-known songs and putting your own spin on them is how you can really develop that core following. And I had a guy on recently. His name's Evan Price, and he runs this music consulting company. And he talked about finding your true fans, your super fans, right? So much better to have 1,000 people who really believe in you, that are willing to spend money on you, than 100,000 or 1,000,000 people who like your Instagram photo. And in order to find them, you got to try a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like if you release one type of music, it could take you your whole fucking life before people finally find that lane. So if you do have the creative ability, like you obviously do, fucking do it, Chris.
Yeah, you'll definitely hear a lot of different shit. Like you asked me earlier, like, will you start to find like a specific sound, like the shit that I have in the pipeline? No, like it's a roller coaster for sure. But
yeah,
I'm definitely gonna strategize it in a way for the time, for the time being of like of this whole situation in the first place,
Man.
So maybe that'll work for me. If not, hope you enjoy my different tunes.
I love your attitude on that, man. Now, Chris, with 10 years in the industry, man, what keeps you coming back? Because you've had a lot of ups and downs. There's no way it's all been uphill the whole time, man, right? Like you explained, when you went to New York, you left, you came back, you tried Chicago, San Diego. You're obviously trying to find the right spot. What do you keep doing this for, man? What's the real meaning to you?
For me, shit. I mean, like I've gone through my ups and downs mostly because of my day job.
Yeah.
Mostly because, for instance, I took 2 years of making music. I took off of making music because I had a girlfriend, who like was taking up a lot of my time, but also was working was working for a startup and building this company as a partial owner of them, and putting in night and day because I saw the amount of work that everyone else was doing. So when I did want to make music, I was making hip hop because me and the homies were getting high on a Saturday night at like 8 a.m. in the morning, and all right, let's freestyle. This is the only thing that we have to kind of do something.
Yeah.
And so for 2 years, I was just like trapped in that, and I had a fight in my head, solar work, or work music. And I got to a breaking point at Coachella where I just had a realization, looking out at the crowds and being completely indulged in the music, and was just like, what am I doing? Like what the fuck am I doing? Like just kind of looking back on everything that I was doing for the past 2 years, and was just like, all right, I'm done. I'm making change. So
love that, man.
Yeah. So from that point, I decided to quit working for people and work completely on my own, which gave me way more time. Also broke up with my girlfriend. Gave me way more time to focus on me first and foremost, because I know that first, if I'm happy and I'm making music that I love, and like I have no attachments, and I set myself up financially to where I set myself up to where I can do this full time and make money off of this, then I can worry about starting a relationship, having kids, the whole 10 yards. But right now, it's like we're not really at that. I'm not at that point where I can make that full-time commitment to one person or one thing. I think there's a triangle of things that you have a focus on. I think there's 3 things that you can have like a main focus on, and anything outside of that is not necessarily your biggest focus. You can put attention onto it, but for me right now, it's family, work, and music.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
I relate to that. Obviously, like with my day job, I've had it for 5 years. I work 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. I'm making fucking cold calls, man. But I know it's really important to keep your daydream, because it will help support your long-term dream. And if you need to work twice as hard, dude, I'll work twice as hard my whole life if I need to. But I just know that having those focuses, right? Like, honestly, it's the same for me. It's family, work, and music. And I focus on that every day. It's what I write down in my planner. It's what I got to do for the week. And things that come in, that's fine. But I love that, Chris. You got to stay focused too. And you can't have like one focus, because you'll go fucking crazy on that, and then it becomes a job, right?
For sure.
That's probably, I think, the hardest thing for people to understand about music is it's really hard to be creative all the time.
Oh, it is.
Some people, there are a few people that it just comes to them like speaking, but
yeah. That's where you have like different creative aspects. For me, one thing I'm able to be creative in is I just started this meal prep company, so I've been like doing a lot of design work to like try to like create a visual thing. So like the creative aspect of that also makes me happy.
Yes.
I'm in a creative block for music, but I'm also like crushing this like design, the design and marketing for this meal prep company. So no matter what, I feel like I'm always like finding some ways to be creative. I think that's just how creatives work.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that, man. Dude, meal prep is the shit. I've been in HelloFresh for like 2 years now. It's changed my life.
All right, well, we gotta talk. We'll get switched over.
I'll get switched over. I trust you. You're a good salesman, like I said in the very beginning, man.
What are you drinking right now?
What am I drinking?
Yeah.
I just finished a green line IPA.
Here. Oh, shit.
I know. Do I need to get another one? You want to cheers really quick?
Yeah, let's cheers.
Okay, hold on one sec. Hell yeah, dude.
Cheers to that, brother.
Brother, you the man.
A White Claw guy.
Dude, I have White Claws in there too. No shame. No shame.
I saw your other podcast, and I always saw you drink, and I wasn't sure if we were gonna drink on this one or if we weren't. So I was like, you know what, fuck it.
Nothing else to do.
Right?
I'm not going anywhere. I gotta start packing tonight, so I'm definitely gonna be a little tipsy for that.
Yeah, I don't think I'm drinking more alcohol in my life than during this quarantine.
Thank you for saying that. Everyone's saying my tolerance is gone, and I'm like, I don't know about that. I can't even get drunk anymore, for God's sake.
Dude, amen to that.
This is why we do this, man.
Seriously.
Dude, it has been such a pleasure catching up with you, man. And Chicago should be getting a little better here soon, but I'd love to see you in person. I'd love to come check out the studio. Thanks for setting it up, bro. I love that little background and the ambiance, the lighting. It's really cool in there.
How to do something cool, you know?
Fuck yeah.
Something a little different.
I'm glad we finally got to do this because we've been talking about this for a little while, but it seriously was so great to talk to you, man. And I'm proud of everything you've been doing. Again, I really am truly a big fan of your music.
Dude, yeah. Appreciate that. What about you? You got you had that Fisher remix that's been doing pretty well on SoundCloud.
It just keeps going. It's one of those that I'm just like, all right, like just keep going. Yeah, Glenn and I, we finished that a while ago, and we just decided, all right, let's put it out, you know, like you said, and we've been getting good feedback. That's not really even the direction I want to go in, but it's bass heavy, and I said, fuck it, let's just drop it on the people.
Yeah, what is kind of the direction that you're kind of heading in?
Definitely more of I want to combine disco and tech house.
Okay.
I'm still trying to find the line, if I can make it 50-50 or if I need to make it leaning more one or the other.
Yeah.
Because I want to capture that open format, but I want to stay true to myself, and that's disco and house.
Yeah.
So finding that line has been where I've been having trouble creatively.
Yeah.
So starting with an acapella and then chopping that up is how I've been trying to find inspiration, and then just starting with the beat and then hitting the bass line, seeing what happens, man. So I'll have some music I'll send you soon.
Hell yeah, dude. I played that other track during my live streams that you sent over.
Yes, Ether. Yeah. See, that's a little more along the lines. Like, I would say take that sound and then I'm going to get a disco vocal over it.
Yeah, that would be sick.
I don't know how often you've worked with or been familiar with working with singers. They're on a different timeline than everybody else. It's like drug dealer time times 50.
Oh,
so,
no, I can understand.
Yeah, right? And trying to find them is very difficult too.
Yeah. I have this song called Psycho Killer that I've been working on for the past, I want to say year. I made it in July on the airplane on my way to Cancun.
Hell yeah.
I use this Psycho Killer sample, but I want everything to be clear and original, so I hired a vocalist I found on SoundShare, and from when I hired them, we're now on like a month from like the completed vocal.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Excited. Can I hear some of these music that's going to come out next year? I got to hear it.
Absolutely. I'll put it together in a mix for you. And
yes. Are you going to do the mix for us? Hell yes.
Mix, yeah. I'll try to make it all original and give you a little preview of what I got coming out.
Okay. Good. Yeah. I like that.
What about you? You got songs in the works right now?
Yeah, I got some in the works.
Any releases?
No, not super soon. Me and Flynn and Max, that one track Ether is actually getting released on House of Hustle, but like in November.
Okay. So,
way out there. I think there's a reason we're waiting that long. It's because we're just trying to see when we can get some steam again, if things are going to be open. But dude, I've been focusing on the brand and the podcast and trying to fine tune that as much as I possibly can. And get my process down, so I'm at a point where I have all the right content. I believe like these interviews are valuable, and like interviewing guys like you is so much fun for me, and I want to really take it to the next level. So upping my studio setup, like I'm getting my own apartment for the first time.
Okay.
I've got a big backdrop of the Sherman the booth right there, bro. We're gonna have a great interview set up. It's gonna be a content factory up in that bitch, man. So I'm just like excited to try all these new things and see what can happen.
Yeah, I was watching your the live stream that you did. What's it called?
Yeah. That at Le Nocturne, the one on the balcony?
No. It's like the show that you had with Alligator and
Good Looks TV.
dude, yeah, Good Looks TV was sick.
Yeah, bro, I know. Gosh, yeah, doing an online TV show as well. That's been really fun.
Yeah.
We've been trying it, man, and it's been tough, like technologically, but we're figuring it out.
Yeah.
And it really is a great concept, man. And I'll definitely put you in the hat for track reviews too. I'm not sure if you saw, we did one with Flynn and Max, and I can interview and we can talk about some unreleased Chris Diaz music, bro.
For sure, bro. That one was definitely sick. I was like, this is really good production.
Yes, I know.
Stuff you're trying to do with Sherman in the booth. Oh my god, dude.
No. So it's been a lot of work, but it's fun, man. That was a new challenge for me too. Online TV show hosting.
I bet.
I enjoyed it.
Maybe on podcasts, selling your podcast to Spotify for 100 million, like Joe Rogan.
Oh, dude, that's the goal.
That's the goal.
$100 million, Joe Rogan, bro. He's 52 years old, so I got 25 years or something like that.
You do. He's set for life.
I'll do it.
Dude, yeah, man, this has been a blast. I appreciate you getting me on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know for sure I'm going to have a few releases within the next month. So if you're tuning in and watching this,
yes,
I got this song with Skanka that should be coming out pretty soon called Let's Do This Thing. And got a few edits that I have in the pipeline that will be released on SoundCloud for sure.
All right. Let's do this thing, man. That's like your motto.
Stay tuned, yeah. Let's do this thing.
I love it, Chris. Well, one more cheers, bro.
One more cheers. Let's go.
Man, it was great to see you, man. Enjoy this weather we've got, and I'm going to see you soon, okay?
I hope so.
I'm excited for this mix as well, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's coming, baby.
Let's go, brother. You have a good night, man. Thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
You too, brother.
Peace.